Good evening, good afternoon, good night, and good morning. Thank you for tuning in to RETV News Break. I am Ty.
And I'm Nicole with your weekly RETV News Break. Every week, Ty and I bring you news, trends, and more with a positive spin. For our first story, Toni Stone, born as Marcinia Lyle Stone in West Virginia, was the first of 3 women to play professional baseball full-time for the Indianapolis Clowns in the previously all-male Negro leagues. This also made her the first woman to play as a regular on an American Big League professional baseball team. In 1949, 1 year before she married, Lyles joined the all-male Negro Baseball League, becoming the first woman to do so. Upon joining the league, she changed her name to Toni Stone because she felt her real name was too cute. Toni began her professional career with the San Francisco Sea Lions. She went on to play for the New Orleans Creoles and the Kansas City Monarchs before retiring from baseball in 1954. After the 1954 season, she worked as a nurse and cared for her husband until his death in the 1980s at the age of 103. In 1990, she was inducted in 2 exhibits at the Baseball Hall of Fame, one on women in baseball and another on Negro League baseball. In 1993, Stone was inducted into the Women's Sports Hall of Fame, as well as the International Women's Sports Hall of Fame. Toni passed away on November 2nd, 1996, of heart failure at a nursing home in Alameda, California. She was 75 years old. Earlier this month, Google honored Stone's legacy and achievement by making her the Google Doodle on their homepage. The image depicts Stone fielding a baseball from her second base position and throwing the ball in the direction of first base as the opposing team's runner crosses in front of her in the direction of second base. The doodle was created by San Francisco-based illustrator and animation director Monique Ray.
Wow, that's interesting for several different reasons, in my opinion. And I know I'll probably say that's interesting a lot, but that is interesting for several different reasons. One, her name was Marcinia Lyle Stone, and she felt the need to change her name to Toni.
Yes.
But it was because it was too cute?
Think about it. In the early 50s, I guess, late 40s, early 50s, and being one of the first women in an all-male industry, sports industry at that, that was probably her way of trying to blend in as much as possible. Although, based on the articles that I've read, you know, she was even joked and pressured into wearing skirts to play baseball.
Are you serious?
And she was like, no. You know, although I'm a woman and I'm feminine, I'm married, I just love the sport and I want to play. So maybe me just changing my name will give me some more respect than what I'm getting now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I guess you're right, because thinking back then, women were not as considered as equal as men, whether you were black or white for that matter.
Exactly.
But for her to go into an all-male dominated sport with, secondly, the names, I know, and I'm familiar with the all-Negro, the baseball team names. The Clowns, the Sea Lions, I was like,
my favorite were the Atlanta Crackers, the Atlanta Black Crackers.
Right. So even then, you know, the names that were, if you think about the names of sports teams now in comparison to the Negro League names from back then, they just were like weird like names. So for her to have to change her name, like, well, these teams are changing their names, but for her to have to change her name, and then she didn't have to, but for her to feel more comfortable in changing her name, because she wanted to be more accepted and more, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, accepted.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, it's interesting.
And maybe you can respect it at the same time.
Yeah, respect it. Yeah, I think that's what I was looking for. Not much necessarily accept it, but respect it. It's pretty interesting. So salute to her, and for her to then go on to care for her husband until he was 103.
Yeah.
Ooh, and you know, she died, you said she passed away at 75? Yeah. 75 her heart. Wait. It make sense. He was sorry.
More than, I think, 20 years older than her.
Obviously. Yeah, okay. That's a whole different story.
Age is nothing but a number.
Age is nothing. I'm with you.
And he supported her, you know, baseball career to the fullest, from what I read. You know, although he was based in San Francisco, you know, being okay with her traveling with her teams, because she didn't always play for the San Francisco Baseball League.
Yeah, she changed it. Yeah. Okay, that's not the story. So we're not going to stay on that one. We're going to move on to the next story.
I just loved it because I've always loved the the Black Negro Baseball League, but I never knew that females played.
Yeah, because there aren't women in professionally male-dominated sports now. They have their own separate leagues. So even there's women's football, there's women's basketball, there's women's softball, which is not baseball, but it's softball, and so forth. So they have their own leagues for, soccer and all of those things now. So to have a woman actually play. And I honestly think, completely aside, eventually there will be a woman to play in the NFL. She'll probably be a kicker or something like that. Okay. Just because of the physical nature of it. Yeah. And they try to protect the quarterbacks and the kickers as much as possible.
Or she could be a quarterback.
She could be.
They don't get hit as often if their defense is doing their job. But
they get
that's a big if.
They get hit is the point. So I don't know. And kickers occasionally get hit too, but not nowhere near as often as a quarterback. So they do get hit. But in our next story, a lot of you all watched the Super Bowl this weekend, and we realized that Snoop Dogg isn't just a rapper anymore. Now he's a label owner. The internet is abuzz with the news of the Dogg Father's acquisition of Death Row Records. And it's nothing if a full circle moment for the man who got his start on the influential but controversial label. But in 2021, it looked like the tide was turning that way anyway. The New York Post reported that Snoop Dogg was named as the executive creative and strategic consultant for the label. And this prompted the rap legend to tell Barstool Sports that he had his mindset ultimately on owning the label itself. I quote, "I think all of Death Row should be in my hands," he said. "I should be running this stuff." He didn't say stuff. "Just like I am in position at Def Jam. Death Row means more to me because I helped create that." Mind, there's a lot of words that Snoop uses that we're not going to use on RETV today. But indeed, he did. Snoop, along with Dr. Dre, is now considered one of the forefathers of West Coast G-Funk style of hip-hop. And while certainly things were contentious in the scene at the peak, the East Coast West Coast rival serves as a cautionary tale for all. Many rappers today look back on the works of Snoop Dogg and the likes with the difference of respect not afforded to many OG rappers. Now, his new album called BODR, Back on Death Row, has a whole new meaning. Talk about manifesting things to life. With that in mind, we decided to take a look back at some contentious history between Snoop Dogg and his former and now current label. Regardless of the sometimes hairy history, Death Row Records set Snoop on a path to becoming the mogul and internet's favorite uncle we all know and love. As Snoop Dogg got older, he shifted for his attention from the booth towards long-term investments. As Afrotech previously reported, Casa de Verde Capital, Snoop Dogg's cannabis-based investment fund, has led several funding rounds for comparable businesses, and he also diversified his investment into businesses including NFTs, wines, and more. All told, he amassed an estimated $150 million fortune throughout the course of his career. And that funding led him to make the biggest gangster move of his career, the acquisition of Death Row Records from Blackstone-controlled MNRK Music Group, a press release revealed. "I am thrilled and appreciative of the opportunity to acquire the iconic and culturally significant Death Row Records brand, which has immense untapped future value." The 50-year-old Snoop Dogg said in a statement to NPR, "It feels good to have ownership of the label I was a part of at the beginning of my career as one of the founding members. This is an extremely meaningful moment for me."
Yay, Unc.
Exactly. Uncle Snoop, Uncle Snoop, Uncle Snoop.
That's dope.
That is extremely dope that he has had the opportunity to purchase the label in which he initially started on.
Wow.
And it's funny because if you look back and you think about, like, I will say his first album, Doggy Style, was probably his most iconic, legendary album that he's put out. Don't get me wrong, he's done some excellent, music since then. But Doggy Style was, obviously you probably couldn't put that out now because of all the Me Too and everything else that goes on. But I think it was just super dope album. So for him to now go back and now own the entire label, because we all know Death Row, which I thought was renamed The Row to get rid of the death part out of it at one point in time. Even when Suge Knight was owning it, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that they tried to change the image of the label by taking out death and just calling it The Row. But even still, it had a black cloud over it because of all the negative press and all the news and all the things. You even saw it in some of the movies that actually came out. The Tupac movie. You actually had a chance to see some of what went on behind the scenes of Death Row. It wasn't a label that anybody just willingly was like, yeah, I want to go be a part of Death Row. Because of the music they put out. But other than that, for the other stuff that went on behind it, even, Tupac wanted to leave Death Row at one point because of all the things that were going on. And it just wasn't that easy for him to even do it. So for Snoop to be able to purchase Death Row, the label in which he started, that's just phenomenal to me. I'm sorry, I went on a rant, but that was just phenomenal to me.
I'm, impressed by seeing how well he's diversified his, investments. From wine to cannabis to, the label and the like. So
NFTs and so forth,
and the work that he's done with, what's her name? Martha Stewart or something?
Oh, yeah, Martha Stewart. Yeah, Martha Stewart. I think he got Martha smoking a little bit of grass there occasionally here and there. I didn't watch the Puppy Bowl but this past weekend, but they did the Puppy Bowl together. Well. Yeah, Martha and Snoop, and then they had their own show, and he's been there to support her a lot, and she's been there to support him a lot as well. Gives you a whole new look at Martha Stewart. How about that? Because I sure didn't think Martha was that type of Martha.
She down.
She is. She down. Obviously, she's down because Snoop don't just hang with anybody.
Oh gosh. Okay. On to our next story. Masterclass has released more than 50 free lessons in honor of Black History Month, Ebony reports. Masterclass is a subscription-based platform that serves as the premier destination for those looking for specialized education about a variety of topics from some of the world's greatest minds. Recently, the platform announced a new free offering launching this February in honor of Black History Month. The 3-part 54-lesson class is entitled Black History, Black Freedom, and Black Love, a masterclass exploring the history and present nature of race relations in America. Black History, Black Freedom, and Black Love is the most important and comprehensive class Masterclass has ever created. This class teaches us how to build a society that honors Black voices, love, and joy. Lessons everyone can and should hear, said Masterclass founder and CEO David Rogier. The class features lessons from a number of Black thought leaders, including Jelani Cobb, Kimberly Williams Crenshaw, Angela Davis, Nicole Hannah-Jones, Cheryl Lynn Eiffel, John McWhorter, and Cornel West. Black History Month is an important opportunity for companies to continue the national conversation around race and equity, which is why Masterclass thought it was important to make the class available for users for free. As an extension of their $2 million commitment to content that inspires and educates on social justice and against systemic racism. Nikisha Cooper, VP of Content at Masterclass, spoke about the collection of lessons, saying the company hopes the tutorials will inspire action around a number of societal issues and describes these lessons as the Black history that is not taught in schools. You can access the Black History, Black Freedom, and Black Love class at masterclass.com.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm very impressed and will be looking forward to digging my teeth into some of these classes, while they're available free of charge. Some of the names that just piqued my interest, of course, are my favorites.
Cornel West, Angela Davis. Yeah. I kind of figured.
Jelani Cobb.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like it's pretty something. And one, we already know that our history is not, in meaning Black history, is not taught regularly in schools. It is taught, but it's not taught regularly in schools.
Nor truthfully.
Nor truthfully in schools. So for Masterclass to come up with something like this, for us, we definitely have to take advantage of it while we can, and encourage, others to take advantage of it as well. Not just during the 28 days of Black History Month, but throughout the year, because it's important that we not know only what they tell us, but we need to know what the truth is, as you just mentioned as well. So yeah, that's pretty dope.
Yeah. So check it out when you get a chance, and while it's available.
Yeah, for sure. Our next story, Erin Jackson, for those who are watching the Olympics, who was 29, became the first Black woman to earn a gold medal in speed skating for the United States on Sunday. Jackson claims the prestigious honor for her performance in the women's 500-meter speed skating race in Beijing. According to NBC News, she slickly sprinted through the ice to complete the event in 37.4 seconds, or 37.04 seconds, to be precise. She is the first person to win that event on behalf of Team USA since 1994. The Ocala, Florida native's success as a long track speed skater and inline speed skater is even more remarkable, as she has only spent a few years as an ice-bound athlete. Jackson previously skated on rollerblades and participated in roller derbies. When she made her first appearance in 2018 in the Olympics, I'll just say that because it was in Pyeongchang. Haha. Did I say it right? I don't know. We're going to go with it. In the Pyeongchang Olympics, she reportedly had only pivoted towards the ice 1 year prior. This year, Jackson experienced unexpected difficulties during the official qualifying period for the Beijing Games. She arrived in this year's winner's circle thanks to her friend and colleague Brittany Bowe, opting to give up her qualifying spot to make sure Jackson was afforded the opportunity to compete. The skating star proved worthy of the sacrifice by making history. She expressed her awe at her accomplishments in a tweet. Her tweet, Olympic champion, she wrote, before an emoji of a gold medal. It's going to take me a while to process these words. Congratulations, Erin.
Awesome.
That's pretty dope. First of all, for a sister to be on ice out there speed skating.
I knew you were going to say that.
What?
A lot of us like to ice skate.
Oh yeah, trust me. When I was younger, I actually ice skated, and a lot of my friends did not. And they looked at me differently because I did. Because I was a Black guy. It was a couple of us, me and another friend of mine. We were Black guys out there ice skating.
And I love the ice skating lessons that Mom would take us to.
Oh, see, I never took lessons. We just went out there, put on skates, broke our ankle a couple times,
me and Gina
call it a day. Yeah, so but no, especially congratulations to Erin, Erin Jackson. Especially, she's only 29. To go from inline skating to ice skating is a lot.
And it didn't take her long to make the transition. And kudos for the young lady. I apologize.
Brittany Bowe.
To the young lady who actually gave up the spot for Brittany to come.
No.
So Erin is the one who won, and Brittany Bowe is the one who gave up her position.
Correct.
In order to
so that Erin could actually compete and make history.
Wow. Well, you both have made history in my book then.
Exactly. So we appreciate you, Brittany and Erin, for actually helping Erin make history, and we salute you, Erin. Congratulations. In our final story, Governor Henry McMaster signed a bill that aims to honor contributions and efforts of historically Black colleges and universities into law on Tuesday. Governor Henry McMaster signed H.4575, which officially designates the third Tuesday of February every year as Historically Black Colleges and Universities Day in South Carolina. The bill, which was brought by the South Carolina State graduate rep, Dion Tedder, was passed by unanimous decision in South Carolina's Senate last week. South Carolina has 8 HBCUs, 2 are public and 6 are private. The Higher Education Act of 1965 defines an HBCU as, quote, any historically Black college or university that was established prior to 1964, whose principal mission was and is the education of Black Americans, end quote. Together, those HBCUs generate roughly $463 million in economic impact for the state and generate close to 5,000 jobs split evenly between on-campus and off-campus jobs. Each $1 million initially spent by South Carolina HBCU and its students creates 12 jobs. HBCUs in general are responsible for more than 40% of black engineers, including 47% of black women engineers, 70% of black doctors and dentists, 50% of black lawyers, and 80% of black judges. In South Carolina, an HBCU graduate working full-time can expect to earn $913,000 in additional income due to having college credentials. This is an historic moment, McMaster said. The reason South Carolina is so strong, and one of the reasons, is because of contributions of our HBCUs.
Awesome.
That is pretty dope. And the reason I say that, and I say that everything is dope or interesting, but the reason I specifically say this specific story is dope, because of the connotation that states like South Carolina have. Where, and I know that a lot of it, there is truthfulness to a lot of it, but you start to see, I guess, a little bit of the tide turning. Now, mind you, yeah, it is, a day in February, which is Black History Month, and so on and so forth, but it was better than what we had before, what they had before in South Carolina. So to acknowledge and honor HBCUs a little bit more, in my opinion, I think it's appreciated. It's not everything. It's not. But to get the ball rolling, a snowball has to start from a little piece of something in order to become a big snowman. So for it to have started, it's better than nothing. And in my opinion, it's appreciated.
And I'm, very impressed by the economic contributions that HBCUs in the state of South Carolina has been given. And I had no idea. Thank you for the stats of sharing, across HBCUs. I'm believing those were across and not necessarily just for South Carolina itself. I'm going to have to tell, our daughter that 50% of lawyers come out of HBCUs. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we don't get a lot of credit for those who went to HBCUs. I attended, Winston-Salem State University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina University. North Carolina, in North Carolina. So that is an HBCU, but we don't get a lot of credit for the accomplishments that we have coming out of HBCUs, African American students, or students in general coming out of HBCUs. Because believe it or not, there are a lot more than just African Americans that go to HBCUs.
True that.
So to prove, I say that to prove the point of the education that you get at an HBCU is, if not equal, but better too, in a lot of cases, than other institutions as well. And to even notice in the article, or in this story in particular, that you have both your public and your private HBCUs that you can attend in quite a few states throughout the United States. Of course, the majority of them are here on the East Coast, as well as along the South. But there are quite a few HBCUs that I encourage, if you are a college student or you are a parent who has students that are looking to go into school, there's nothing like a historically black college and university experience. I will personally say that I teetered on the thought of going to a private, a PWI, but I actually was encouraged to go to HBCU, and I did, and I'm glad that I did.
I'm glad you did too.
Exactly, and I made sure, even haven't done it as much recently because of COVID, but I've made sure that I've even introduced that to our kids by taking them to homecoming and things like that.
Right.
So that's pretty dope. So I'm excited, for what South Carolina's doing, and hopefully other states will follow as well. We thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of RETV News Break.
Be sure to subscribe to the RETV YouTube channel and Facebook pages for more great news and shows.
We look forward to seeing you again next week right here on RETV. Until then, be blessed and be great.
Hey, it's your girl Tia Robertson. I'm the host of Entrepreneur Insider. Right here on RETV every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern for entrepreneurs and news that you need to know about. See you there.
Welcome to What's Going On? My name is Demita Joe. Each Wednesday, you can find me here at 3 p.m. I'll be over here discussing different things that are going on and try to bring you a boost of positivity for your week because we all need this. We're going to share some feel-good stories. We might find a hometown hero. We may take a look at some trending topic. And sometimes we might even find a lesson in a not-so-warm and fuzzy story if we can. I'm Demita Joe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode right here on What's Going On?
Well, they do that, cause we do that though. I see you talking, so we gon' take it though. And yeah, talking cheap, so don't do that though. My click 100 deep.
Growing up in the church, we saw a lot. Things that people refuse to talk about. The elephants in the room. Mental illness, sexual abuse, broken families, domestic violence, and so much more. The Big E, The Elephant in the Room, is a show that sheds light on these topics. We're here to speak about the unspeakable.